I've been to Palestine. 2.5 years ago, I went there to work with Palestinian women who've been tortured in Israeli jails, which has been documented by Israeli Physicians for Human Rights, by B'Tselem, the Israeli human rights organization, by United Nations and others. Nobody ever talks about the thousands of Palestinians. Did you know that 2 Palestinian doctors were tortured to death recently by Israel? Doctors tortured to death. Now my question to you is, and I'm not going to go into the history, this is not the place for it.
No.
But I have a different view of the history. I used to see it the way you do. I don't anymore. I'm not gonna go into how I do see the history, because this is not the, just let me finish. History did not begin October the 7th. And here's what I know. Most of my fellow Jews, now in Canada, you know, I mentioned the residential schools. In Canada, 4 years ago, there was a poll, a national poll. Now, thousands of children died in those schools. People were tortured, raped, all kinds of stuff. Not even controversial. There was a poll in Canada. 70% of Canadians 4 years ago said they knew nothing or little about the residential schools. 70% of Canadians knew nothing or little about the residential schools. So what happened to Indigenous people? If you do a poll in the United States, based on all the Hollywood movies that people have seen, until very few years ago, and even now, most people will know nothing about what happened to the Indigenous people here. Nothing. The genocide, the torture, the rape, the starvation. They know nothing about it. And in some states in the United States, it's illegal to even to teach it in the schools. Now, do you think the average Jew knows anything about the indigenous people of Palestine?
Woo!
Now, no, just a second. So, these animals that you talk about, you know, the first massacre of Palestinians in Gaza didn't happen last year. Didn't even happen 4 or 5 years ago when they killed hundreds of children with their bombs. It happened in 1956. But just let me just a second. In 1956, they massacred 200 civilians. Do you know about it? Do you know about it? You've never heard of it. Of course you haven't heard of it. That's why you can call them animals. Otherwise, you'd see them like human beings like the rest of us.
Yes.